Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk, a live session, Napoli Crotone. It seems like the chat that I have is not working on the monitor here that I have, but I can see your comments on YouTube. So actually, let me get rid of this chat since it's not really working. Let's go here. Let's get rid of that. Or let's actually try to fix the chat. For anyone watching, I haven't done live streams too much, so just bear with me, guys. And I'll start talking about the game in about 2 seconds. So Discord represent. There we go. Let me just fix the whole chat situation, guys. 2 seconds. Let's see if it connects. Okay. No, it's not connecting. Never mind. Okay, ignore the thing that doesn't work here, but you guys can see the chat anyways on your own monitors and stuff, so whatever. Anyways, so let's see what you guys are saying about the game. So Giovanni Del Vecchio, Demme plus Bakayoko, the most balanced midfield. Yes, I did really like this midfield. I thought that especially today against Crotone, a team that was last in the table, I think that we needed this sort of very tough midfield players that like to get stuck in. You have to remember the conditions today it was raining, it was a tough pitch to play on, and it was a short pitch, so you know that you're going to have a lot of bodies in that midfield. So Demme, Bakayoko, two guys who know how to tackle, who can win the ball back, is so important. And we saw that with the third goal, actually, where, not to go too ahead of myself, but on the third goal, we saw that Bakayoko recovered the ball in midfield. And, Crotone are the type of team that they sit back, but then when they get the ball, they like to rush forward on the counter. And when you rush forward, if you can actually stop their counter while everyone else is going up, then you can get the ball, send it out to someone like Mertens, who was up top, and then you've got a counter on your own side. And that's how we scored ultimately that third goal. We had Mertens on the ball, who passed it then to Demme, who was following up. And again, you've got Bakayoko recovering, Demme going forward. We saw Demme likes to go forward in the Rijeka Napoli game a few weeks ago. I made a video that was almost entirely about how Demme is improving going forward, and he got the reward once again. Demme now is 3 or 4 starts and 2 goals this season. So I think Fabian needs to watch out. And I said it in that video, Fabian needs to watch out because Demme really is playing really good football. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Let's read some of the comments. I'm all about Zielinski as a number 10, says Anthony. Yes, Zielinski as a number 10 is fantastic because Zielinski, he's a natural midfielder, but he has had experiences in the number 10 with his national team, with Empoli growing up, and he's got an eye for assists and goals. So he can link those two, the midfield and attack, really, really nicely. And he's got so much skill and he's explosive. We saw with the first goal where Insigne managed to curl it in. Another great goal by Insigne, but that all started from Zielinski getting the ball, nutmegging, beautiful piece of skill, and then passing it on to Insigne. And that takes a lot of skill to nutmeg, to pass the ball at the right time, at the right place, right to Insigne's feet. Zielinski does that so well, and he can really flourish when he's got players like Bakayoko and Demme who are covering him in the back. But then also when we defend, Zielinski is also very useful. He's much more useful than when we have Mertens as a number 10, because Zielinski, as I said, is a natural midfielder. He's got also a lot more stamina. But I also want to see Elmas in that position. Elmas is very similar to Zielinski. It's just, it's hard to get Elmas more minutes because who are you going to put on the bench? Mertens, Zielinski, but at least he came on for a few minutes. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Good evening. Yeah, good evening. If they can play like this the whole season, the sky is the limit, even if it was against an inferior opponent, says Maximus. Well, yes, it was against an inferior opponent, but let's not forget that these are the toughest games of the season at times. When you're playing at home against a team that's fighting for relegation, because Crotone right now, they are fighting already for relegation. These can be really, really tough games. And we saw Gattuso after we scored the first goal. We didn't have time to celebrate. The players ran to Gattuso because he was shouting instructions, and they all huddled around him, and he was telling them what to do, where to go, keeping the intensity very high, because we didn't want a repeat of what we saw a few days ago in the Europa League against AZ, where we went and we got that first goal, and then all of a sudden we started falling asleep, and they started playing better and better and better, and ultimately we risked losing that game against AZ. And for the record, I'm sorry for missing that video, but I really did not want to do one after that game. I was quite mad. I was quite frustrated with that result, and yeah, so it is what it is. I think we all just wanted to put that behind us. It's not the end of the world to lose against or to draw against AZ, but we put that behind us, and the boys reacted really, really well today. 4-0. I mean, all 4 goals, really nice goals. And while I'm on the subject of Gattuso picking the right midfield, picking the right moment to keep the team focused, I thought he also was great, and credit to him in keeping Petagna on the field, because guys, Petagna had a horrible 87 minutes of football. He missed every single chance that he could miss. I've played in that position at times before, and it seems to me like he's either thinking too much, he's too much in his head, because, for example, that miss against AZ, the one with his head, or the one against the one today, the one where he took the ball and then carried it 3-4 paces away from the keeper, almost as if he's not confident in what he's doing. He needs a bit more time to himself, and then ultimately he loses the moment. But finally, for that last goal, he managed to get on the score sheet. Boom. First time, or maybe he took one touch and then he scored. And that's what we want from Petagna. We don't want him to think too much, because we saw that he was thinking a bit too much against Milan, against AZ earlier in the game. But credit to Gattuso for believing in him, and ultimately that belief is what led to him maybe recovering a bit of confidence for that last shot. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Let me read some of your comments. Yes, guys, smash that like button, guys. You guys can read it right here. Subscribe. We just hit 700 subscribers, which is, this channel starting to grow a little, so that's quite nice. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Let's see what else you guys are saying. It's hard to choose between Zielinski and Insigne on who is man of the match. Well, funny you mentioned that, because let me put on my player ratings, or at least my top 5 player ratings. So I've got Insigne with an 8, or did I put 8.5? No, I've got Insigne with an 8. I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, another beautiful goal by Insigne, curling that, and he's getting really good at these, guys. It's already now 3 or 4 goals this season if we consider the one against Roma, the one against Benevento, and they are all crucial goals. It's either the goal that is the winning goal or the first goal of the game. So he's not even doing that when we're 3 or 4-0 up. It's when things are tight. It's when he needs to be a leader on the team, and he takes that responsibility. He knows he's going to get abused if he misses that, but credit to him, because he's been playing fantastically. And then for him to set up the other goal, it was just fantastic. And Lozano with a goal as well. He obviously is in that top 5 with a 7. I thought he was great. So Insigne passed the ball to him. He controlled it, smashed it in, and just running riot in that attack. And he's a bit sloppy with some passing. Could have done a lot better, but he sacrifices himself defensively. He's doing that consistently now. And then when he takes on players, I mean, he gives us that extra something in attack. That's something that you never really know what's going to happen when he has the ball, and that's great. And then we see that again with Politano. So just fantastic in attack for us. I put Zielinski as 7 just because I had to put Insigne as an 8 because he had that assist and the goal, and what a great goal. And then Mertens came on, and in about, was it 20 minutes, guys? In 20 minutes, he had 2 assists, and so I had to favor Mertens and Insigne, but then obviously Zielinski and Lozano 7. Don't ask me Petagna because yes, he did score, but 87 minutes of just trash in my opinion, honestly. But I was kind to him. I didn't put what I would rate him onto this. And then Gattuso 7. I talked about what he did very well in this game, both leading up to it, during, with the subs, just fantastic for Gattuso. So let's get rid of some of these things here, which can be a bit distracting. Let's get rid of some of these. See what else you guys are saying. Someone said something about is it true that Jen Rogard is the funniest mod in the Discord server? Yes, quite true. But yeah, let's pretend like that's true. I don't want to diss him live, so yeah, it's true. All right. Do you agree that Chucky is finally coming into form? I think he's finally putting it together. Yes, Chucky is coming together nicely. I think that now he's on more than 5 goals this season. It might be 6 or something. But yeah, he's developing into a really good player. And I think for me, he's always going to have some bad games. That's almost normal for a player like Lozano, who relies a lot on dribbles and explosiveness, because if you happen to be just a bit out of form, then you're going to have a bad game. But what he does really well is that he doesn't have 2 bad games in a row. And that's where you know that he's a very good player, because very good players, they can mess up 1 game, they don't mess up 2 games in a row. And Lozano this year hasn't messed up 2 games in a row. Anthony is saying Maximovic needs to play more. Yes, I agree. It's ridiculous that Maximovic, I think maybe our best player last season, isn't playing more. And I like Maximovic so much that actually, if he decides to leave, I wouldn't even be mad. You know, usually we get a bit mad with players leaving, but Maximovic, he's proven that he can start for Napoli. He's good enough to start for any of the at least 3 to 6 top teams in Serie A. And so if he wants to leave and have a bit of game time, then I understand that, because Gattuso just isn't seeing him enough. You know, okay, you need to have a good formation when you play even the last team in the league like Crotone, but come on, if we don't save Koulibaly in these games, or Manolas, because you know they need to rest as well, then when are we going to do it? When are we going to put Maximovic? We can't just put him in the Europa League. That's just not enough games a year to keep a player of his quality. So I think we're going to lose Maximovic if we don't start putting him a bit more. What else are we saying? Vesavius is saying, I think Petagna wasn't that bad. He should have done better, but with a little bit more confidence, he'd have been the difference maker. Yes, with a little bit of this, he would have done that, but I think ultimately he didn't show it. So, but I'm not saying Petagna is a bad player. I agree with you. Petagna, with a bit of confidence, he's going to develop into a really, really fundamental player for Napoli, because he brings that physicality that we don't have in attack, especially when Osimhen is not playing. So we need Petagna to perform. We need him to have confidence. We need him to score. It's just he wasn't doing it before the 87th minute. But, you know, if he were to start the next game, I wouldn't be upset about it, because Petagna on form or with confidence is a very good striker. I said it when we bought him. A lot of people were saying, what are we buying Petagna for? I was saying how Petagna, he scored 12 goals with Spa last year, so he's going to do well with Napoli as well. But we need to make sure that these players are putting the ball in the back of the net, because so far we've got 2 goals from Petagna and 1 from Osimhen, and those are our main strikers this year. That's not enough in 10 games. So we're relying quite heavily on our wingers, on our midfielders. They're delivering, which is good, but we need those guys to step it up. When will Osimhen come back? Does anybody know, guys? So it's a bit of a strange situation with Osimhen because when he first got injured, they were saying how he could play against Crotone. Obviously, he wasn't even part of the squad against Crotone. And then now they're saying that potentially he's going to miss out against Sampdoria and he might come back for the Inter game. Now, if that's true, I almost prefer that because I'm very against rushing players back after injury because I don't want the same thing to happen like what we had with Insigne earlier in the season where he had an injury, he came back, a game and a half later he was back on the sideline. So if Osimhen needs time, then let's give him time. I don't think it's anything too serious. He won't be out for months. It's just a matter of a few weeks. And hopefully against Inter, he's going to be there because I think I want to see Osimhen play against a big team. He did really well against Atalanta, and I want to see that. Let's see what else. And then, so you guys are talking a lot about Petagna. There's a lot of debate whether Petagna is going to do it for us. I think give him time. Give him time because now he's scored. He's got that confidence. He's going to be playing more because Osimhen is out. And now is when we can finally start to judge Petagna. So let's hold off on judging Petagna. He had a bad game, or not maybe the worst game, but not great. Let's see the next game against Sampdoria or against Real Sociedad. That's when we can really then start to compare Petagna to some other players. Let's see what else. Okay, guys, another thing I want to talk about that I don't really do this quite often. I don't really talk about referees very often because that's just not the channel I want to become. I don't want to diss other teams. I don't want to diss refs. I really just want to talk about tactics and tactically and technically what the players are doing. But it has to be said, when you've got a ref that needs to look at the VAR for that tackle on Demme, it's embarrassing, honestly. And maybe there was a foul on Petagna in the first half, which could have been a penalty. And for sure, that yellow card at the end for Politano was just nonsense. I mean, Politano had his shirt tugged, and then he fell over. He wasn't asking for a penalty. The ref, for some reason, thought he was. For me, that's just horrible refereeing, and obviously it didn't change anything for the game. We won 4-0. But these kind of things start to add up, and especially these yellow cards, they start to add up. And when we start missing players because of suspensions, and it's because of a stupid yellow card against Crotone when we were 4-0 up, then it actually matters in the long term. And talking about yellow cards against Crotone, I think actually one of our worst players today was Lobotka, who came on for 10 minutes and managed to get a yellow card when we're winning 3-0. Why, as a midfielder, would you go and get a yellow card when we're winning 3-0? I understand if it's 1 or 2 and you're trying to stop a counter, but 3-0, you're playing 11 versus 10. The last thing Gattuso needs is his players getting a yellow card. So Lobotka, another missed opportunity for me. He could have gone with a very neutral rating today, but I think that yellow card brought him down to a 5.5. A lot of you guys talking about Mario Rui. Jacob Football is saying, I think Rui is better suited as a backup. He does not have the qualities for the starting 11 if we're going to win the league. Perhaps Tagliafico or someone at his caliber. I agree with you. That's exactly my thoughts on Mario Rui. I think he is good enough as a backup, and in fact, we should keep him as a backup, because if we sell Mario Rui as a backup, who else is going to be a backup? Because I don't think Gulam is at all going to be a consistent player for Napoli. We saw him against Rijeka a few weeks ago, and he had a good game, and everybody was praising him, how he was back, and then we went and we played against AZ, and I thought he struggled physically in the last 5 minutes that he played, and then he had to get subbed off on the 60th minute, and you can't play with a left back that you know is going to need subbing off at 60th minutes, because that's a wasted sub. We're lucky this year that we have 5 subs, but who knows if that's going to be the case next year when we go back to 3, and so we can't have Gulam as a backup, because obviously if Mairarui is injured and we need to play Gulam, what do we do for 90 minutes and for several games in a row? Then we need Hizai, but we don't know Hizai if he's going to renew. So for me, Mairarui is ideally a backup, and then we get a better caliber, higher caliber left back, someone like, as you said, Tagliafico. Or it's a shame that that young Polish kid Carbonek didn't come. I did a whole video about him. I thought for sure he was going to come. But yeah, definitely we need someone better in left back. That's the one thing that I think this team needs. That's, if we can fix that, if we can sort that out, then we've got maybe the most complete team in the league. And Luigi Della Vecchia says the yellow card to Koulibaly was absurd. Yes, guys, 5 minutes into the game, Koulibaly, his first tackle, he gets a yellow card. It wasn't even a mean tackle. It wasn't anything. And you've compromised our defender for the rest of the game. 5 minutes in, I've almost never seen something like that. There is a lot of people also talking about Fabian, who obviously didn't play today, but they were saying, look how good we are when Fabian isn't on the field, and he's very overrated. Avice Conti is saying, if Fabian starts on Thursday instead of Demi or Lobotka, I'll scream. Guys, Fabian is we have a hot and cold, or at least I do, a hot and cold relationship with him personally. I would always like to see Demme playing. For me, Demme, and I've said it, I'm not jumping on any bandwagon here. I said it when we did the season review at the end of last season. I put Demme as one of the key crucial players for Napoli. That's when our season turned around, when we bought Demme, and I was actually upset that he wasn't playing this season. But for me, Demme, he's starting to win Gattuso back again. He scored a great goal, a very, very good goal, and he's really developing into a complete midfielder. I made a poll on Twitter the other day saying, do you guys rather have Bakayoko or Demme? And Demme got 60% of the votes, so other people seem to agree with that. And so for me, Demme needs to start, and then Fabian can alternate with Bakayoko, because Bakayoko, I also don't want to see him start every single game. He's very good, and we need him against teams that are tough like Crotone. But sometimes if we need a bit more quality, I'd rather compromise some of that with Fabian and hope that Fabian can give you that really good long ball, or that quick bit of passing. So yeah, but for me, Demme definitely needs to start, and then Fabian and Bakayoko can alternate based on the game. Also because Bakayoko is a bit unreliable. We saw it against Milan, got a second yellow. We saw it against AZ, gave away a penalty. Whereas Fabian, yes, he can give away a pass, but he doesn't give you away penalties, and he doesn't get red carded. What else are you guys saying? Gattuso doesn't know how to manage Lobotka. That's an interesting comment by ID Beats. Guys, Gattuso doesn't know how to manage Lobotka. I think Lobotka should have never come to Napoli, not because he's a bad player. It's because I don't think we play in the position that he needs to play. So I think Lobotka is really good with a 5-man midfield. That's the sort of position that he was playing at Celta Vigo when we bought him. He did play with 3 in midfield, but when he did play in a 3 in midfield, he was playing as that holding midfielder, and sometimes Gattuso likes to put him now when we play in midfield as one of the side midfielders in that 3 or in the 2-man midfield, and that's very different from a 5-man midfield, which is actually his ideal formation. So for me, I just think that he's not a bad player. He just doesn't fit this whole Napoli squad. And you know, like players, when you've got someone like Zielinski and Demme and Bakayoko and Fabian around you, then that level is so high in midfield that when you take even that half a second longer to make up your mind, or if you're not going and passing the ball forwards and vertically and you're doing it backwards and horizontally more than average, then it's very noticeable. Maybe not so noticeable when you're playing at Celta Vigo, but when you come to Napoli and the ball's coming at you quick and you need to stop it and you need to look up and know where your teammates are and give that ball all in the space of 1 second, guys, it's tough for anyone that's played a midfield. That is very tough to do, and when you play against these when you play with these players, you can really tell the difference starts to come out. So and that's what we see, I think, with Lobotka, that he's not a bad player, but he just, compared to what we have, isn't good enough. Let's see. Fabian is more offensive in my opinion. He is sloppy in defense, but does not have the pace to run box to box. Yeah, Fabian doesn't have much pace. At the same time, he did score against Roma, doing sort of a box to box run, which was nice to see. He needs to be doing that more often. I agree in that sense. That's what we want to see from Fabian. And defensively, he has improved. You know, he's got these long legs where he's recovering a lot of balls, but he's definitely not someone like Bakayoko who's going to slide in there, or Demme who's going to put his body on the line. And, you know, credit to Demme. That's one of the reasons why I gave him a 7 today. It's because he put his body on the line for that tackle. Like, these players, they know they're going to get tackled like that. But Demme took one for the team, literally, and we started playing with 11v10 because of that. So, you know, great play by Demme. Fabian needs to do this a bit more. Savis is saying you didn't link to the Discord again. I'm very sorry. Why don't you drop the Discord link on the chat? I think you're allowed to do. I don't think YouTube will take that down or anything. But yes, in fact, am I able to edit the description live? Let me put. No, I'm not able to. So let me put the link to the Discord server after this. Guys, go join that Discord server, because they talk about Napoli 24/7. No matter what part of the world you're in, there's someone talking about Napoli, talking about before the game, after the game, anything to do with the players, the coach. It's a really good space. And whenever I do have time in between these videos, then I do like to comment in there as well. So you might see me around. Let's see. Demme was balling today. Want to see more of him. Yeah, exactly. Demme was just fantastic today. Bakayoko and him. I thought that they would not play together very often, because I thought that Gattuso saw them as one being a replacement for the other. But actually, I was very pleased to see that Gattuso, for teams that play in tight pitches with a 5-man midfield like Crotone did, then he's willing and he's smart enough to see that you need both Demme and Bakayoko in there, because Fabian today would have struggled so much. Fabian would have been like this beautiful swan in, eaten up by all the other things in the river. I don't know where I'm going with that, guys. This is the beauty of being live. I can't edit that out anymore. So, yeah. Anyways, Fabian should move up to central attacking midfielder. Yes, he should, because that's one of the positions that he plays with Spain. So with the Spanish national team, he's always playing great football, and for him not to worry so much about the defensive aspect is going to improve his game so much, because then he can be a lot less tired, and then when he's a lot less tired, he can pick out better passes, get closer to the box, and shoot more. That's what we want from Fabian. Guys, I think we covered the game pretty much as much as we could, but let's look at the stats and the league table. Let's switch slides a bit here. So let's transition. All right, so we've got this beautiful table here. Let me take command of this. So this hasn't updated. Let me go and update this browser page. One sec, guys. Bear with me. I'm going to update this screen here. There we go. All right, guys. We are seeing the live result. 0-4 for Napoli. Goals from Insigne, Lozano, Demme, and Petagna at the end. If we take a look at the stats, we have Napoli with 13 shots against 6 from Crotone. I don't even recall 6 shots from Crotone actually. I think they were very, very quiet. There was actually only one that I remember that was very risky for us, which was, I think it was still 0-0 or 1-0 for Napoli, and a cross came in from the right, and a newly sub player hit it on the volley with his left foot, and Ospina was very, very reactive to get to that ball. So very good from Ospina, but that was really the only time when we left someone free, and I think maybe that was Di Lorenzo not being in position. And in fact, yeah, that's their only shot on target. We've got 61% possession, and I thought that was actually more because I didn't see Crotone with too much of the ball except in the first maybe 10 minutes. Very high passing accuracy, 91%, but that is a bit skewed because we were playing 11 against 10. So obviously when you have that extra man that you can pick out, you're obviously going to have passes that are going to always go to someone, and it's very, very hard to actually not pass to someone when you're playing with that extra person on the field. But I think when it was still 11v11 at the end of the first half, it was 86% passing accuracy. Let's see what else. Yeah, 3 yellow cards for Napoli. Most ridiculous yellow cards I've seen maybe all season. Only 1 corner for us. So Crotone, okay, they conceded 4 goals, but they didn't suffer as much as other teams. Like, we've played games where other teams, we've had 11 corners. Like against Roma, we had something like 8 corners at the end of the first half, and it was only 1-0. Whereas, with Crotone, we didn't really get a chance to. But, credit to them. I thought that they were good and they were in the game. And then, obviously, we got that red card in our favor, and then they just crumbled. And that's unfortunate for them because they're last in the league. And now if we just scroll down and we go and check out where we are in the league, we are back into some very high positions. We're 3rd now. Milan have to play. They've got a game against Sampdoria, who are our next opponents. That's going to be a very interesting game. I look forward to seeing how those teams get on, because that will tell us a lot how difficult the Sampdoria game next week is going to be. And Sampdoria are not a bad team. They're 12th. They're one of these tough teams to go and play against, but hopefully it should be fine. And who knows, maybe they get a point against Milan. Maybe they even win. But it's nice to see Napoli ahead of Juventus. Obviously, Juventus have been caught up in a scandal this week with the Suarez case. I'm sure you guys know about it. I might do a separate video when things are a bit more clear, but they risk even a few points deduction, or who knows, Serie B, maybe, hopefully. Trying to hide the smile on my face when I say that. And then we've got Sassuolo Roma, who drew 0-0. That was great for us. We didn't want these teams to go and pick up points. So yeah, very good results for us. It's super tight over there. We've got from, I would say, 7th to 1st. It's very tight. We've got Lazio, who we play against very soon. We've got Sampdoria, Inter, and then Lazio, I think. So yeah, quite an interesting few games for us, and the league is very, very tight. So guys, let me go back to this screen and make sure that you guys are smashing that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. I hope we can get to, let's say, 800 by the end of the year. That'd be a nice place to be for 2021. And yeah, guys, I mean, even 701, guys, that's crazy. And I love seeing what you guys have to say, what you guys have to comment. It's really nice. I do this for that. I've got a bit of hair sticking up. Anyways, when's Milan going to lose? Yeah, hopefully against Sampdoria, guys. Hopefully against Sampdoria. And then, yeah, they just need to add the 4 points that they took away from us. Obviously, we got 1 point deducted, so we should be at 21. And then we didn't get a chance to play against Juventus. They gave us an automatic loss, so we should be at 24. And, yeah, we should be comfortably in 1st or at least 2nd. So, unlucky, but I do think that this team is well equipped for this year. Fun fact, Avice Conti says, in the top 5 leagues, Napoli has the second best defense with 7 goals conceded in the league. Does that count the 3-0 that we suffered against Juventus? Do they put that in there? Let's go take a look at the table. It says goals. Yeah, no. So 7 is literally just what we conceded on the field, because Serie A has 10 against us for some reason. Napoli is highly underrated, says Maximus. Yes, it is. They are. We are. But we want it to be like that. We want it because we don't want the pressure. This team, I don't think, is ready to handle very high amounts of pressure. We've got, cases in the past where we crumbled. Obviously, I'm thinking like 3 years ago. Who knows if this team is going to crumble again when things get very heated towards the end of the season. But I guess there's only one way to find out, and I think that we will find out one way or the other at the end, because I think we're going to be right there with a few games remaining. And what else? Guys, I think I love what Vetsu Oji says. I love what Gattuso is doing this season. Yes, guys, he messed up maybe 2 games. He messed up Milan, which was unfortunate because that's when I went live the first time. So, and it was right after I made a video about why Gattuso is so great for Napoli. So I seem to always do that. I jinx myself a lot. But yeah, Gattuso messed up that game, and then maybe he messed up against AZ. Maybe both times against AZ. He didn't manage the game very well. But other than that, guys, he's doing a fantastic job. He's managing the team extremely well. Maybe he's not managing Lobotka. Maybe he's not managing Maximovic very well, or Ramani. But can you really blame him? He's getting the results. As I said, we could have been maybe first in the league by now. So yeah, Gattuso's doing a job for us. And talking about AZ, it's interesting that the coach got fired yesterday or this morning, whatever it was, because apparently he's been negotiating contracts with other teams. So AZ go into the last Europa League game with a new manager. So yeah, it's interesting how they play so well, but if your head's not in it with the team, then you risk getting fired. Instead, Gattuso, we know that he's concentrated for Napoli, and that actually he might be renewing very, very soon. They're apparently at the details. And so, guys, if you haven't watched the video I did on Gattuso, then it's somewhere on my channel. Go take a look. For me, it's quite nice news to see that he's renewing. I think that's exactly the type of coach that we need. And what he did today when he brought the team together after that first goal was so important and very, very crucial, I think, for us, for not going down in our concentration. Hopefully injuries don't ruin this season. How did I become a Napoli fan? Well, I am from Naples, guys, so I know I don't sound very Italian when I speak at times. That's just because I've lived in many different countries growing up. Now I'm in England, so yeah, but I'm from Naples, guys, so that's why I am a Napoli fan. But maybe I'll do a bit of a Q&A when I reach 1,000 subscribers. You can ask me about any Napoli related questions. Diego Marquez is saying today's lineup was perfect, a nice balance of offense and defense. Exactly, because Demme, Bakayoko in midfield, and those two in midfield, very defensive, get stuck in the tackles. But then you've got Zielinski, number 10, who's great going forward, and then Lozano, Insigne as well, great going forward, but also very good going back. So you've got a great mix. And even those two that are in the back, Demme and Bakayoko, they like to push up whenever they can, and we saw Demme with the goal. So yes, my nose gives me away. Yeah, I've got a very Italian nose. Actually, I don't know. My nose might be giving it away because I'm from the very south of Italy. My mom's from Naples. My dad's from even further down south. So yeah, I guess my big nose gives it away. It's a very strong Italian / almost Greek origin nose. Anyways, I don't know how we get on these topics on Napoli talk. But yeah, everyone has a different story. Cleto or Quieto or Cleto 5 years ago played with Napoli on FIFA. I liked them and boom. You know, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's just love at first sight. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I think that is everything we've talked about. Napoli, we've talked about my nose. I think we can end it at that. I'm very happy that 4-0. We've got a very important game against Real Sociedad on Thursday before we go to Sampdoria and then Inter, and that's going to be massive, 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 massive. So yeah, hopefully we do December well. I've got Lazio as well in December. Hopefully we do December well, and then we can start 2021 with a brilliant, brilliant, in a brilliant way, with lots of points in the bag already, and hopefully other teams like Milan start losing. I mean, they're going to start losing at some point. So, yeah, guys. Anyways, that is everything for me. I hope you enjoyed the chat. Maximus says he was only joking. No, I don't worry about it, guys. You can make fun of me as much as you want. Other people have commented about how my mustache looks like Mount Vesuvius. I thought that was hilarious, and now people that actually are around me are noticing that too. So yeah, no, I find it funny. I can joke about myself. You guys can joke about me. I don't take it personally at all. Will Osimhen be back for Inter? I think by Inter, yes, for sure. That's what they're trying to do. Anyways, guys, good night. Have a lovely week, and Forza Napoli sempre.